Income Tax 2020. Earned Income Tax Credit Questionnaire. Come in, relax with Income Tax 2020. Here we are on the IRS website at irs.gov or irs.gov. We're going to look at a tool that can help us to determine whether or not someone qualifies for an earned income tax credit and possibly some estimates with regards to the amount that may be taken for the earned income tax credit. This is kind of like a interview type process tool provided by the IRS. Obviously, software would be very helpful to be calculating the earned income tax credit as well, but this might be useful if you have some specific questions that you would like to go through within an interview process to see if someone qualifies and or possibly to get some idea of what the number would be for it. And it might be something you can give to a client as well if they want to, or someone that's asking about the earned income tax credit, that you can tell them to take a look at this tool and they can enter the information and get a better idea of it. So we're going to type in up top the EITC Assistant. EITC Assistant. If you just type in Earned Income Tax Credit, you'll probably get there as well. But we're looking for this item here, the EITC Assistant. And so here we have it. So the Earned Income Tax Credit helps low to moderate income workers and families get a tax break. Claiming the credit can reduce the tax you owe and may also give you a larger refund. How it works? Use this calculation to find out if you're eligible for an EITC, Earned Income Tax Credit, if you have any qualifying children or relatives, the estimated amount of your credit, and then filing status. What you're going to need, we need the income statements such as W-2s and 1099s, and we need the documents showing tax withheld or money paid to you, any expenses or adjustments to your income. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at it. Let's use the assistant tool here. So we have kind of our interview process. I'll see if I can zoom in as far as I can here. So the Earned Income Tax Credit, the EITC, helps low to moderate income workers and families get a tax break. So answer some questions to see if you qualify. So general information. So answer a few questions about yourself to see if you qualify. All fields marked with an asterisk, the red asterisks, are required. Select the tax year and you would like to check your EITC. So we're going to be looking at the 2019 is all that's available at this point in time. 2020 should be up soon, but again, they're kind of updating their information. So we're mainly focusing in on 2020, but they should have it updated for 2020 shortly, you would think. So just keep in mind, we're looking at 2019. Were you a U.S. citizen or resident alien for 2019? I'm going to say yes. Do you have a valid Social Security number that was issued on or before the due date of your 2019 tax return? I'm going to say yes, we have the Social Security number. If you say no to any of these, it'll obviously take you possibly on a little tangent to see if you have the other requirement that may be necessary, if there's some other requirement that could still qualify. So are you filing your 2555 or foreign earned income or Form 255EZ foreign earned income exclusion? So I'm going to say no here. I'm going to say we don't have the foreign earned income tax form that needs to be filed. Will someone else claim you as a dependent or a qualifying child for the EITC on their tax return? So if someone else is claiming you, then you can't claim them on your tax return. So we're assuming that no one else is claiming us as a dependent if we're thinking about whether or not we can get the earned income tax credit on our return. You don't qualify for the earned income tax. And I hit the wrong one. I said, yes, we could be a dependent. So I'm going to change that to no, and then we'll keep on going here. Please select the range that describes your age at the end of 2019. 24 or under. So typically if we have, and this is that rule that is for someone that if they don't have any dependents, then we might need to be kind of within this range here. So we're going to say we're within this range. I'm going to say next. And so now we've got the filing status. On this step, you will be asked about how you plan to file your 2019 taxes. All fields marked with an asterisk are required. Do you know the filing status you will use to file? So our filing status, I'm going to say yes, we know the filing status. And the filing status, let's start off with saying that we're going to file head of household filing status. Select the number of children or other relatives with valid Social Security numbers you might claim for the EITC. Now remember, you're not required to have any dependents in order to qualify for the the credit, but it's much more likely that the credit's going to be more substantial, if there's children involved. So I'm going to say, let's go with one here, one qualifying child, and that's what put us up to head of household possibly, or part of the component that can possibly bring us up to head of household instead of single. And then I'm going to say next. Let's see what else we got. It says, in this step, we'll estimate your earned income, adjusted gross income, and any adjustments to it. Please select and enter your 2019 income and adjustments. Only select one item per source. So we're going to say wages, salaries, tips. I'm going to say wages, salaries, and tips. I'm going to say are 20,000. So 20,000 wages, salaries, and tips. And then we can add another source if we have one. Select pre-tax contributions, payroll. So 401k, I'm going to say no right now. HSA, it's a health savings account, I'm going to say no, or cafeteria plan. And then a health insurance premium. And then you can look at the questionnaires for this, but these will be marked off on your W-2 if you have a W-2. But I'm going to keep that at no at this point. Work where federal income taxes were not withheld, I'm not going to pick that. Self-employed gross income, that would be like a Schedule C type of income if you have that, possibly instead of or in addition to the W-2 income. Disability retirement payments, foreign earned income, pay received for work while inmate in a penal institution. Select and enter any of these types of unearned income you had in 2019. Do not enter the same income in multiple places. So then other income sources we may have had, taxable portion of a pension. I'm not going to put anything there. Unemployment insurance. So if we had any unemployment insurance, we could put it here. Social Security income, if we have any. A scholarship or grant. Investment income. Other type of income. None of the above. So I'm going to go none of the above there. Select and enter any of these types of adjustments to income you had in 2019. Do not enter the same adjustments in multiple fields. So these would be the adjustments to income, kind of like the above the line deductions to get to that AGI. And the AGI is what we calculate kind of our phase outs on typically. So if we had any student loan interest, qualified educator expenses, deduction for contributions into an IRA. So, right, these are things that we saw on Schedule 1, Part 2 in essence. The above the line deductions, health savings account, moving expenses, alimony paid, penalty for early withdrawal, certain employee business expenses, and other adjustments. So I'm going to say none of those. We don't have any of those. And then that's it. So I'm going to say next. See what else we have then. We have qualifying children. Based on your previous responses, you have one qualifying child with a valid Social Security number. If this isn't correct, please return to the filing status and change your response. In this step, we'll see if you may claim this child as a qualifying child for the EITC. Has the child lived with you for more than half of 2019? We're going to say yes, they lived with us. Can the child be claimed for EITC on someone else's return? No, no one else is claiming the child. We're claiming the child for the EITC. Is the child married, and will they file a return with his or her spouse? No, the child's not married. It's a child, not married. So is the child permanently and totally disabled? No, not permanently. Select your relationship to this child. Is it child, stepchild, adopted child, foster child? I'm going to go there. Sibling, half-sibling, and so on and so forth. How old was the child at the end of 2019? We're going to say under 18, because we want it to be a qualifying child here. Based on your inputs, the child is a qualifying child. If you have other children or relatives you believe may be qualifying children and were not disqualified in this step, please return filing status to update your number of children. So I'm going to say, all right, that's good. And then based on the information you provide, you are eligible for the earned income tax estimated amount of $3,367. So it's given us a nice little estimate here. Now that is just an estimate, of course, because we're basically, until we do the actual tax return, we don't exactly know what the earned income is and the adjustments are. But it can give you kind of a rundown of the idea of what it would be. And you can run this for different kind of scenarios, like what if you had 2 children or something like this, to get a feel, or what if your income was higher, to get a feel for the level of earned income there is. Because notice what we've done here is we've kind of thought about when someone qualifies and then when the phase out's gonna remove. But what you really need to do is you kind of need to see the graph. You want to like kind of plot the graph in terms of, if you're really discussing with someone what the benefit will be of it, well, your earned income, it's going to increase as your earned income goes up based on how many children you have up to a certain level. And then it's going to go back down and start to phase out at a certain level. It's a curve. And you can kind of get an idea of the curve if you just plot a bunch of points on it, running this out here. So the tax credit amount will reduce your 2019 taxes when you file your tax return with the IRS. Next step, how to file for the earned income tax credit. In order to receive the estimated amount of $3,367, you must file your 2019 federal return. If you claim the earned income tax credit, by law, the IRS cannot issue your tax refund before mid-February. So it does take a little bit longer for the IRS to process the earned income credit, partially because it's complicated. Secondly, it's got that two portion of the refundable portion with it. And thirdly, because it's something that fraudsters will typically be targeting, so they have to be careful on it there. So then if you'd like to file your taxes online, you qualify to use the IRS free file. So they have the objectives or what you can use to file the return. And then you got your information summary down here for the year, filing status, and the gross income and the earned income. So now let's make some changes to it here. Let's say we had 2 qualifying children, same $20,000 in the adjusted gross income. So I'm going to say, all right, well, what if we said that the qualifying children, how do I add a child here? Filing status, qualifying children. So I had to go back a few steps. Let's bring it up to 3 qualifying children. So we're busy here. Head of household, 3 qualifying children's. It's a mess at our house over here, but it's good times. So then we got the 20,000, and then we're going to go down everything else. I'm going to keep it the same. So now it says qualifying child based on your previous statement. Select each child that lived with you. So I'm going to say they all lived with me. So they lived with me. Select each child who can be claimed for the E on someone else's return. None of them can be claimed on someone else's return. Select each child who is married and will file. They're not married. They're all the children. Select each child who is permanently or totally disabled. None. And we're going to say additional information. First child, select your relationship. I'm going to say child. And they're going to be under 18. Second one, child, and they're going to be under 18. And then third one, child, and they're going to be under 18. And then based on your inputs, the first child, second child, third child are qualifying. So they're all qualifying children. So now it's maxing out at that 6,347, right? Now we got the 6,347. So you can kind of use this to estimate out. It's 2019, however, right now, but the 2020 should be out soon. So if I go back down and say, well, what if now it's at 6,000. Let's pull out the trusty calculator so we don't forget that number. I'll put it in the trusty calculator here so it'll be saved. So 6,347. So now let's say that we change the income. Let's say the income goes up to 40,000, or let's make it 35,000. So income goes up to 35,000. And let's see what that does. So we're going to say next. These are all the same. That's all the same. Can I just jump to the results? I just want to go to okay, here we go. So now it's at the 3,188. And what did we have last time? Trusty calculator. 6,347. So now it's being phased out because of the income limitation. So if your earned income was less than that, it may actually go down too. So if I went down and said, well, what if my earned income was less? What if it was only 5,000? You'd think I'd get a bigger benefit because then I have less earned income. But no, most likely, because they're trying to incentivize the earning of the income as part of the thing. So now it's only at that 2,000. So notice the earned income has to go up to maximize it to some peak threshold, and then it actually goes back down again.